The Bank of England is holding interest rates level at 5%. And I'm holding my interest in the Bank of England at 0. I'm Harriet Langley-Swindon, and this is Non-Censored. Hello and welcome to Non-Censored, the podcast that wraps up all the best bits from my very real daily radio show into one easy-to-digest highlights package. I'm joined as ever by my producer Martin, and what a show we have for you this week, eh, Martin?
Oh, yes, indeed. We were joined by Liberal Democrat leader Sir Ed Davey. We spoke to Sir Keir Starmer's personal stylist about all those fabulous suits. And as ever, we were joined by Eshaan Akbar for a chat about pharmacies. But before we go any further, we should mention that we have a live show at the Cheerful Earful Festival on the 16th of October, which is less than a month away. We're on at 7 p.m. at the Bedford in Balham, and tickets are available from cheerfulearful.co.uk.
Martin, Eshaan and I, and a special guest, will be taking your questions and explaining why you're wrong totally live. We will also be taking your questions and explaining why you're wrong totally pre-recorded next week for a Time for Questions bonus episode. But that's just for Patreons. So head over to patreon.com/noncensored and sign up there if you want to be corrected. But on to this week's show, and as ever there were so many items in the daily radio show that we don't have time to play for you. For example, we ran a brilliant piece about Sue Gray, but sadly a lot of people seem to miss the point, so we won't play it here.
What would you say the point of that piece was?
Obviously, Martin, obviously, it was about fractures at the top of the Labour Party after just 3 months of government.
In that case, maybe its title, Sue Gray just took a DNA test and it turns out she's 100% a total bitch, was a misstep.
Oh, honestly, some people just need to look beyond the headlines and find the subtext. So instead, we'll start with our interview with the Liberal Democrat leader, Sir Ed Davey, who talked to us after his triumphant conference speech earlier this week. Let's take a listen. Ed Davey, welcome to the show. Hello.
Well, it's just wonderful to be here. Sorry if I'm a little wet. Caught in the rain on the way out. Don't worry, I wasn't going down a death slide.
Oh, God.
Right.
Yes.
But I would go down one. I don't know if you've seen them. They look like a lot of fun. Almost as much fun as 72 Lib Dems can have. Pushing for a better, fairer, more equitable society. You hold this, watch this. I'm going to run around that tree. Count now.
No,
count that.
no,
Ed,
I
Ed,
don't-
Ed,
No,
please,
no,
just...
I don't want to.
Oh,
2, 3, 4,
I'm
5,
inside.
6,
That's really... Ed, if you could just come
7,
back to the...
8,
Back to your microphone.
Stop! How fast was that?
8 seconds.
I
Still on
mean...
there.
I don't know where you get your energy from, Ed. It's fantastic to have you on the show. Such a dynamic character. And now in a way, the leader of the opposition, some would say.
Well, quite. Yes. I mean, good luck finding the leader of the Tories to run round a tree. They haven't even got one. but we have. We are very much not them. They don't have a leader. We do, and we think it's important that people remember that we aren't the Tories. It largely seems that was the message that really resounded on the doorstep, and so we're really hoping just to keep that at the forefront of everyone's minds. The Lib Dems, we're not the Tories. Now,
Yes.
look at this. You see that swing over there? I bet you think
Yeah.
I could go all the way around, could
Okay,
you?
no, we don't. I don't.
What?
Ed,
Oh
we
dear.
didn't-
Right.
Think about
Okay.
whistles.
Okay.
No, he's off. Right.
Yeah.
I can't count. Can you do it this time, Producer
Okay.
Martin?
Is this good content?
I
Are
don't
we-
think so. No, I think we need to.
I think
to stop
Okay.
him. Stop him very quickly.
Yep.
Right,
That's,
yeah.
I think he's nearly
Got-
done. He's
God,
nearly
he's
done.
looking at. It's,
But that's
Okay.
really high.
Yeah,
it's
Ed,
a bit
if you could
bit
just
much.
come back, Ed, we have some questions.
I don't even there.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
going
great.
back, madam.
That was,
I think you've won the hearts and minds of all
No.
of our listeners with these
What-
antics.
What you've got to think is, if I'd fallen off that and broken an arm, what would have happened, eh? I'd just lay
Yeah.
there, like, crying out, and everyone's saying, that's a shame. And why would that have happened? Because there isn't a hospital for me to have gone to. And if there
Oh,
is, I'd
wow.
have waited a bloody long time.
okay, well, actually, Ed, this is great. This is great that you've brought up this because you talked a lot in your speech about the NHS and health and social care, but you didn't really talk about how that would be funded. So I'd love to know your views on that.
NHS. 3 little letters, 3 little
Yeah.
words. I love you. 3 little birds on my doorstep. Well, it began.
Oh, he's singing.
That's
Ed, I see what you're saying. You want to see the NHS funded, and that's what a lot of people are passionate about across the party divide. So, I mean, oh, okay.
It's the drag.
Yeah, Ed. So our questions were probably more aimed at how the Lib Dem manifesto has changed since the Labour government was taken.
The
Yeah.
changes, turn and face the changes.
This
Right.
is actually quite
Yeah, that's-
difficult
What's
for
this?
would know.
I
copyright
know I can go
reasons.
quicker this time. 8 seconds.
No, I don't think we need to. Where we? Where's he? Oh, God. Actually, he's looking a bit exhausted now. I don't know if he's going to make
Yeah.
it, really.
In future, maybe we should insist that he comes into the studio.
fast
Yeah,
is
I
that?
think studio.
That was faster.
That's-
Come on, that was faster.
No, it was. That was pretty fast. But let's talk about other things, Ed Davey. It's very impressive what you've done there. But your conference, I watched your speech with interest, and I thought it was very interesting that you came on to ABBA's "Take a Chance on Me," and I wondered, Ed, why we should take a chance on you.
Take a chance. Take a chance.
Yeah.
Take a chance. Take a chance. Take a chance.
Oh,
Yes,
I
that's
see. You're
that.
singing
Yeah,
it.
all right.
When you're all
Okay.
alone,
No.
free birds will sing. Honey, I'm still free. Well, and the NHS is free.
Yes.
Free at the point of use.
Well, okay,
And
but
that's what I wanted to say.
yes, but Ed, you keep talking about the NHS being free, but how? I mean, how is that going to work? How are you planning to do this? What would you do? What would you do to make it free?
Well, I'm free to do whatever I choose.
Oh, right,
and I'll
yeah,
sing
no,
the
okay.
blues that I want. I'm
I think
free
it's
to be
It's
wild.
another
And over
another
a
song.
Lib Dem government, rest assured, everyone would get tickets. None of this price tag nonsense. The price you choose, the price you pay. 2 words, Lib Dem. 2 brothers, Liam and Noel.
Oh yeah,
Still-
the tickets have gone up very much, but then that's just businesses trying to make a buck or two.
The free market. We believe in that. If you believe in that, do you believe in that? We believe in that.
Well, I just believe in good old capitalism, and I think, it's sad for those little Oasis fans if they can't afford to go, but at the same time, a lot of companies are really profiting off that, and I think good for them, good for the companies. That's the British way.
We like companies, of course, as the Lib Dems, but we also hate them. And that's the duality, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess it is.
So, Ed, how are you going to keep this up for the next 4 years? This is what I want to know. What's going to be your shtick? What's going to be your thing?
Well, what we've realised is that the only way the British media will allow us to say even the most basic and decent of things is if I also do a stunt. Now,
Oh,
I've got a few
no.
points I'd like to make about the number of nurses per patient. But to make that
Okay.
more
Right.
palatable, you might be wondering what this is. That's right. These are fireworks. Now,
What?
Oh, no,
Ed.
don't do that, Ed.
everyone stand back. What's
No,
this?
oh, God.
I don't think.
Don't
Oh,
is rather sadder than No,
Okay, just
Right.
be careful.
Yeah,
Ed.
I don't.
because baby,
I
was thinking-
I'm a firework. Come and see a
Oh.
warrior. Now, independent studies have shown that anything less than 6 nurses per patient on the ward is.
Oh God. Oh God.
Oh, good Lord.
There should be
No.
a greater number.
Right.
Doesn't.
I think maybe throw some water on the fireworks.
Never return to a lit firework.
No.
Ed, that's.
Are you
That's
all
all I know.
right?
I whack a little bit of pseudocreme on it. It'd be right as ninepence. But this makes a serious point about who we turn to in times of crisis. And
Yes.
NHS as one of the cornerstones of a fairer and more equitable society, healthcare delivered at the point of need, not at one's ability to pay. And I'm sorry, that's as far as I normally get in this sentence before everybody loses interest.
That's.
I'm just going to run it down on the roundabout.
No, don't.
No, there's no need. I don't. I think you're going to harm yourself.
Harriet, I feel
I think he's
perhaps
mad.
if we just bet him that he can't sit through a full interview, that might work.
Yeah, maybe.
I did it.
We might want to bet him.
Did you see me go?
Ed,
See me spin?
That was
See me spin?
so much talent.
That's pretty impressive. Ed, we're coming to the end of our time here, so I just wanted to end by saying, apart from the NHS, what other things are the Lib Dems striving to do?
Sorry?
So you've talked a lot about the NHS. You talked a lot about the NHS in your speech. You also talked about how you're not the Tories, which is brilliant. So what else is there to... No, you're not the Tories. So what else is there to the Lib Dems apart from championing the NHS and not being the Tories?
What are your plans for the next 4 or 5 years while in that position of opposition?
We're not the Tories.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
And we like hospitals, and we like the things you like, and we don't like the things you don't like. And in the southwest, if that's immigrants, boo. But everywhere else, we think they're all right. Don't be.
Well,
don't be scared.
this is a policy
Don't
that
be-
I can get behind, to be honest.
Don't be
You know,
afraid
just-
with the Lib Dems. That's really the message. Don't be afraid. We're just the Lib Dems.
Okay, well, Ed, I think that's a good note to end on because I think you could do with a sit down.
Yes, maybe a little sandwich
and-
and a juice box.
At the end of the day, we just want to reach out. Do you know what I mean? We're all just people. We all sort of want the same thing. It's just about reaching out, hand to hand, touching hands,
Oh.
reaching out,
Yeah.
touching me, touching
Oh, no.
you.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I think we just terminate the interview, producer Martin. Just cut him off. Just
Right.
All right, thank you, Ed Davey. It's been a pleasure to speak to you.
I'm feeling.
On to the rot at the top of government. I'm talking, of course, about producer Martin's best friend.
But former.
Sorry, yes. Former best friend, Sir Keir Starmer. He's been taking freebies left, right and centre, and not for essential life supplies like golden wallpaper, but for clothes, of all things. So who better to talk to about this than Sir Keir Starmer's personal stylist?
Well, Sir Keir?
And is he returning your calls at the moment? Right. So the personal stylist it is. Let's take a listen. Coco, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me here. Excuse me, just before we start, it's Coco,
yeah.
Yes. Well, Coco, it's very exciting for us to have someone so stylish on the show, but you do actually have quite a lot to answer for, considering the recent headlines, don't you?
Well, I understand where you're coming from, but you've got to understand that dressing Keir Starmer, it's so important. he's a brand experience, you know?
What do you mean by brand experience?
Well, when you dress him, he's a person who exerts a huge amount of influence. He's got to be wearing the right thing. He's got to be at the right places, you know? He's got to be at the Arsenal. He's got to be at Taylor. These are all part of how he's seen. It's a brand, you know?
Yes, but it doesn't look very good for the brand if he's seen to be accepting hundreds and thousands of pounds of gifts.
Or spending over £600 on Coldplay tickets.
No, these are essential items. You know, you look at Keir, he's got a lot of fans. And if he's not living up to what fans expect him to be, those fans will be incredibly upset. If they go to a Coldplay concert, Keir's not here, they'll be very sad.
For me, it's just the hypocrisy of it. It is the hypocrisy. They used to accuse the Tory party of sleaze all the time when the Tory party was doing nothing of the sort. To spend money on something as frivolous as Arsenal tickets, instead of, say, something really useful like gold wallpaper, it just boggles the mind. It really does.
No, to be clear, we will be buying gold wallpaper.
Oh, right.
For Keir and Victoria. That is coming.
That's
Please
fair.
don't.
Right.
It's in the pipeline. But, you know, you look at Keir, that doesn't happen overnight. It's like Charlie XCX. You know, it doesn't just happen. You have to build that person. You have to build that persona. Like all artists, influencers, people of influence, you know?
Is Sir Keir Brat?
Yes. But Brat is over, but he was. No longer. Yes, he was.
So what?
Well, it's a Keir Autumn.
A Keir
Brat Summer, Keir Autumn.
Oh, that's very good.
And do you think a Keir Autumn happens if you buy suits at, I don't know where producer Martin, where you get your suits? No.
Well, I mean,
No.
I'm not even wearing a suit today.
I think it's TK Maxx, isn't it, producer Martin?
It's not always TK Maxx. Sometimes it's M&S. They do good suits. They last. They last a long time.
But Coco, I understand, you know, you're a stylish woman. You need to give him a stylish look. But can't he buy his own suits?
No.
Oh.
I've got to say, Coco, that as a close personal friend of, well, I mean, a sort of having previously been a close personal friend of Sir Keir, he never looked poorly dressed. I think when he was leader of the opposition, he looks just fine. So why the big change around when stepping into the position of PM?
Well, firstly, he was never badly dressed. It's just, if you really understand styling and stitching and tailoring, if you look closely and you know these things.
I know these things.
Well, exactly.
I've seen Phantom Thread.
Exactly. So if you know these things, you can look at Keir now and say, oh, this suit is worth thousands and thousands of pounds, and his wife now looks very expensive and lovely. Before, he looked like the head of the CPS. And I have to say, I don't want to overstep, but producer Martin, you've become slightly wet-eyed. Was there some sort of...
What's the... no, they're just reminiscing about, you know, lion bars.
I should tell you, producer Martin, that Coco, as well as being a stylist, is also a psychiatrist.
Oh, yes. Well, I mean, I love the fact that he's in power. It's a great new position for him. I think he's going to do a great job. But it's our responsibility rather to hold him accountable. And I think that's exactly what we need to do with this whole gift giving / receiving debacle.
No, I understand what you're saying, and also about the hypocrisy with, you know, Carrie and Boris. But I would say this, producer Martin. Hold yourself accountable to your heart.
Is that...
That's very good, producer Martin. I haven't heard that one before.
Is that a Charlie XCX lyric?
No, but that will be part of the Keir Autumn, which will be coming imminently. But,
okay.
You know, why do you care so much? Why do you care about this man's suits? You know, other people like me, we work in branding, we work in styling, we work in branding, marketing, styling, and other words that don't exist. We focus on the important things, like what someone's wearing.
Yes.
It's not about policy. It's not about ideas. It's not about the economy. It's about what you're wearing.
Yes.
That's the important thing here. And that's what you need to be focusing on.
Well, maybe I could do with maybe a new jacket to prepare for the Keir Autumn.
Yeah.
Okay, well, moving away
I suppose
from
maybe a
from
sports jacket, a sort of light blue sports jacket. Would that be something that I should wear?
I think you would need an entire overhaul, maybe.
The whole wardrobe, right? That sounds expensive.
Get someone to pay for it.
Coco, Keir Starmer, he's received 2.5 times more gifts and hospitality than the next MP, according to a league table. Now, what do you say to this? Is it too extreme? What is too much? Is there a line which you must not cross? When should we start worrying? When he starts wearing velvet suits?
Oh, that's a great idea. Let me put that on the velvet. No, look, I take your point. If he was wearing gold shoes, I'd say no, not till winter. But, we don't live in the Victorian times. He's not a little urchin boy. He's a leader of men. He's going on stage, essentially. Prime Minister's question, it's stage. It's theatre.
Showbiz.
Showbiz, thank you. It's every time he's on Instagram, it's, that's what it's about. It's about what does it look like? Where is he? Who is he? He is like a Taylor Swift of our times.
It must be quite tricky to maintain the same style as well, because I'm sure, he's going and meeting these famous people, influential people. He's being encouraged to meet Donald Trump. Donald Trump, of course, famously has a line of golden shoes. What if Sir Keir were to return and you saw him wearing Trump's golden shoes? Would you intervene if he was at the Taylor Swift concert and someone gave him one of those little bracelets? Is that something that you'd stop from happening?
These are the important questions, and politics is so complex, as you've illustrated, and it's questions like that. Could Keir accept a Taylor Swift bracelet?
You'd think
it's something the team would have to think about. We'd probably have to have a committee meeting.
How many is on the team? I'd like to know who's on this team.
It's just 16 of us at the moment, and then we'll see. I mean, when we dress Victoria, we just do like a quick little brainstorm. We have the committee and then the subcommittee. But as I say, it's not Keir is a movement. It's not a person,
Right.
What do you make about him not declaring the expenses for Victoria's clothes?
I feel the clothes made all the statement that needed to be made. Never explain yourself. Oh, you need to declare this, you need to declare that. Let the clothes do the declaring for you. You know?
Right. I mean, financially, from a legal standpoint, I don't think the clothes do quite declare everything that needs to be declared.
Hello, fashion police. Fashion police. Producer Martin's here.
No, that's why are you that?
That was quite
took a
funny,
turn.
actually.
I'm not the fashion police. I'm just a man who believes in law and order.
That's a television program, but there are no laws around clothes. Let me explain this. There are no legal
Well, what about
laws.
crimes against fashion? I've
No,
heard
that
about
is-
those.
That is true, but you can't go to prison for them. And all this discussion about declaring this and declaring that, that's not anything I'm interested in. And Keir and the team of us, we're not talking about that. We're just talking about great A-lines, and great looks for Victoria.
Okay.
And actually, I find all this pretty seedy, if I'm honest.
Oh.
Well,
This isn't seedy. This is not a seedy programme, Coco.
Could I just ask, I know a lot of our listeners will be wanting to know, are there any hats likely to make an appearance?
Yeah.
It's a really good question. And there will be hats, but we don't call them hats, because when Keir wears them, we just call them cats.
Cats.
Yeah.
Hats.
With a K.
With a K.
Right.
Portmanteau.
Yes. Sort of needless one, really, and also quite confusing, because you'd think he's got a cat on his head.
No, but you'll know because it has a K.
Right. Well, Coco, thank you. That has been very illuminating. Thank you for coming on the show.
Very welcome.
Now, if you're finding the adverts in the show annoying, please be reassured that we're not making much money from them. But if you find them annoying and like the idea of supporting the show, you can subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/noncensored, where not only will you get the show without adverts, you'll also get the episodes before everyone else. Finally, Pharmacies. You know them as a place you go to in the morning after you've had a really good night out. But did you know they also have other medicines? And the people inside have actual medical training? And they are threatening to work to rule? As you might imagine, Eshaan Akbar had a hot and spicy take about this. Let's take a listen. Eshaan Akbar, you charming, charming man. How are you today?
Oh, Harriet, what a lovely welcome. I am indeed charmed. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I have to say, I'm really appreciating, for the listeners who can't see, that you're wearing a lovely jumper which complements the lampshade.
Ah, well, thank you. I mean, it's kind of a half-sleeve jumper, if there's such a thing. And,
Very trendy.
thank you. And I'm someone who takes interior design very seriously. I believe that one's exterior should reflect their interior design. It's the philosophy.
Oh, that's very clever and very correct.
That is quite good. Do you sort of project that onto other people as well, Eshaan? Do you sort of judge their character based on what they're wearing?
Yes, so every time I look at you, Martin, I feel very sad.
Oh.
Well, Martin, I think that's just you've got to try harder.
Well, it's just a sort of no-nonsense work clothes approach that I tend to take.
Yeah, but
Too
you
busy with my
wear lots of
mind
black.
on the
tend to wear lots
game, twiddling those knobs and
Yeah, I know. You
flicking
tend to
those
wear lots of
switches.
black, and it just makes me feel like inside there is a sadness that you're expressing externally. Whereas if you look at Harriet, with those, beautiful colours, her hair is bouncy, she's
Thank
flouncy.
you.
It's absolutely
Yeah.
wonderful.
Well, I like to take pride in my appearance. I think it's important.
Right, so do we have a hot and spicy take, or is this just, we're just going to chat about clothes?
Eshaan, please tell us your hot and spicy takeaway of the week.
Well, look, it's rather pertinent that we're talking about appearances, because I think in recent years there has been this sense that people appear to not be working as hard as they used to back in the day. Harriet, this is something that you talk about quite often. So the pharmacists, you know them lot, the little pharmacists, the Dr. Lights, they've recently come out and said that many pharmacies in England, Wales and Northern Ireland could actually cut their opening hours in protest over government funding if a work to rule ballot passes. So basically,
What?
they've said the NPA, which is the National Pharmacy Association, represent about 6,000 pharmacies, and they say that 1,500 have closed since 2016 because of workload and budget cuts. So they're now saying, well, because you're putting so much pressure on us, we're going to ask the rest of the pharmacies to only do the 40 hours a week they're contractually obliged to do, and not a single second more. And the hot and spicy take is this. I kind of agree with them, because pharmacies are for the weak. Only weak people use pharmacies. And if this country, Great Britain, is going to progress, we only need the strongest, the fittest, the survivors. Therefore, the fewer pharmacies, ergo fewer doctors, I think the better for the country.
Eshaan, that's very interesting, but I have several points to say here. I mean, firstly, what do your parents make of this?
Well, my father is a paramedic and my mother is dead.
No, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think you mean you've got your P's confused. He's a pharmacist.
No, he's definitely a paramedic.
Harriet, this is Rishi Sunak's father
is a paramedic.
No,
I see. Okay, what's happened here? So, okay, not all Asian parents do the same jobs.
Oh.
Yes.
So Rishi's parents are different from my parents.
Right. Right, okay.
Yes. So
right, okay.
I do appreciate that you think, everyone could be a pharmacist is a pretty decent job. You need a qualification for that, but that's not...
Well, it sounds like they're slacking, to be honest, from what you say. If they want to cut down the hours, is it a decent job if they're going to slack?
Well, pharmacies, you need what? Advanced qualifications? It's one step up from, homeopathy?
Well, I don't
It is
know.
glorified homeopathy.
I think that's mainly just sort of giving people little bits of water, isn't it?
What,
It is, but what's different with the pharmacy? It's little water in a pill.
Oh, yes.
I don't. Where would we be
It's
without
solidified water.
a paracetamol?
But you can buy paracetamol in many retailers, such as Boots and Superdrug. Also, your local corner shop.
What about all the people that need help? That need, some kind of additional assistance? That they and without it, perhaps it will
Actually,
progress.
I know what producer Martin is talking about here.
What?
He's talking about venereal disease.
I'm not
Well,
talking
venereal
about-
disease,
When you've got a venereal disease,
Harriet.
you need to pop to the pharmacy.
Here is the thing.
And that's what's important. And if they're going to cut the working hours, what about people like producer Martin who have to deal with their venereal
I don't
disease?
have-
Riddled with
venereal
venereal disease.
Nobody calls it that anyway.
What do they call it?
Listen,
What do they call it, Mr. Expert?
Syphilis?
No, I don't think people get specific with it
So
either.
if-
Syphilis the neck one. Is syphilis the one where your neck goes a bit weak?
Well, I don't know. Producer Martin's probably the one to ask here.
I don't have any problems, thank you. But
How many-
the one problem that I do have, is with you suggesting that people going to pharmacies makes them weak. If people need a little help, I think it's much better that they go to the pharmacy, they get that treated, and then they don't have to go and see their GP and increase the waiting list.
See, this
for
is the
other
problem,
people who have
Martin.
More serious.
You still believe in the nanny state, despite COVID getting rid of most of them. You still seem to think that we should be nannying the weakest in our society. This used to
I
be a
don't
great
think-
country. We used to explore the seas and take over other nations. Do you think there were pharmacies aboard the ships? No. You got scurvy and gangrene and you died.
No, actually, do you know what, Eshaan? I'm going to stick up for producer Martin here.
Oh,
Because the
goodness.
thing is, when you have a venereal disease,
Oh,
Yeah.
come on,
Yeah.
Harriet.
What? You need to go to a
you
pharmacy?
do need to sort it out. You need to go.
Well, do you not
You
think it
can't
was-
just let it fester.
I think
my
it was just
husband,
bliss.
Well,
my
that
husband
is fair.
Jonathan,
Yeah.
he had his venereal disease. He got it. It's very strange, actually. We couldn't work out why. It was a sort of few weeks after I went to the Johnson's party, and
Right.
he had to go to the pharmacy. He's not a weak man. He just had to sort out his venereal disease.
Well, it
Right,
seems
okay.
pretty weak of him in some respects to have got the
No.
venereal disease in the first place.
Anyone can get a venereal disease, Eshaan. I've got them several times from hot tubs. So nothing to be ashamed of. It happens.
Where have you got venereal diseases from, producer Martin?
I have only ever heard about them. I've read about them in books.
Have you been to a pharmacy to
No,
check?
producer Martin, syphilis is still a venereal
Listen,
disease.
the,
It's
the
just
main
less
thing
lesser known
that I
one.
get from pharmacies are those lollipops that are also whistles.
Yes.
I like them.
Yes.
They're fun and they're tasty,
But-
and you
but do you only
can't get them anywhere else.
Do you walk into a pharmacy just to get those lollipop whistles?
I'll pick up 4 or 5 at a time, so I don't have to pop in that often. But
Right.
yeah, that's
Okay.
mainly what I'm there for. But then also, the kids, they're always getting into scrapes. Sometimes it's easier to just pop down there. I think
Because
pharmacies are a
children
good
can
thing.
get venereal diseases too.
That's not. My children do not have venereal diseases. Listen, the point is that all medical professionals deserve the right to be supported. And, I think we all should expect a little more from a Labour government.
Sorry, can I just pick you up on that statement? All medical professionals deserve the right to support. Why? No, they don't.
Yes.
They don't deserve a right more than anyone else. GPs and GPs receptionists, for goodness sake, they get enough support from us anyway. They expect us to call them at 8 o'clock, and it's like a bloody national lottery every morning. There we are on the phones, clogging up the phone lines. You can't actually call emergency services because the phone lines are clogged up with us trying to get appointments for our venereal diseases.
I've got to say, Eshaan,
This is very
you're
true.
making a good point, but personally, I like the rush. I like you're waking up, you set your alarm. It's like Glastonbury ticket day. It's 7:45, the alarm's going off.
Yes.
Phone in hand, I'm ready to go.
Yes.
Oh, I've got a bit of a tickly cough, so you better believe I'm going to be in there first.
Producer Martin does make a good case. Anyway, look, we need to close up the segment. So, Eshaan, to conclude, your hot and spicy takeaway is that we should welcome the shorter hours in pharmacies, despite venereal diseases.
Don't we? Didn't.
Yeah, maybe only call your pharmacist between 7:45 and 8 o'clock to get some support on your venereal disease.
That is
Fun
not
morning rush.
something that I need
Get that
to do.
morning rush because of what happened in the evening rush.
The morning thrush.
that was
you could say.
Oh,
Really, nothing. That
Sorry,
was
there
a
was
good
just
joke.
you just sort of took over Eshaan's very funny joke about the evening rush. So I think I didn't get a chance to laugh, and now it's too late. I can't do that now. So
Right, well, it's
that's
done
quite
now,
sad
isn't it?
for me. Missed out on my daily laugh, and the pharmacist said I should get at least one a day.
yeah.
So there we are.
One big old laugh a day.
Yeah, now I don't have it anymore because producer Martin decided to talk over Eshaan's joke. I look forward to that joke.
I guess we'll have to cipher later.
Oh, he did it! Oh, that's very good. What a note to end on.
Why?
Oh, thank you. Oh, a joke a day keeps the pharmacist away. Thank you, Eshaan Akbar.
My pleasure.
Oh. Well, that's it for now. We'll be back next week. So in the meantime, like, subscribe, tell your friends, follow the Out of Context Noncensored Blue Sky account, and remember that there's loads of stuff on our Patreon, patreon.com/noncensored. So if you enjoy the show, please do support us if you can. With thanks to Rosie Holt, Brendan Murphy, Eshaan Akbar, Rufus Hound, and Davina Bentley, and Ed Morrish. I'm Harriet Langley-Swindon, and we'll be back next week with more Noncensored.